Hello, my friends. Oh, my friends, my guest tonight is the former Transportation Secretary of the United States. Please welcome back to The Late Show, Pete Buttigieg. Good to see you again.
Good to be back.
Yeah, I always enjoy talking to you, but I'm particularly grateful for you to be here tonight because I know you haven't done an interview since the inauguration.
Yeah, not like this. That's
okay.
Sure.
Well, let's start. Let's just start here. Secretary Buttigieg. At no point did the president tonight say, you know, the state of our union is. In your opinion, what is the state of our union?
Complicated.
Well, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes. How? 6 weeks in, what has complicated it?
I mean, look, the State of the Union is roiling, right? We've got divisions that we didn't think could get any worse that have been picked at and punched at again and again by the president, whose job is to unite the American people, who's supposed to be a walking symbol of what Americans have in common. And instead, of course, we have something else. The State of the Union, I think, is really confused about why our leaders are talking about renaming things on a map instead of getting the price of eggs down. The State of the Union is wondering whether we can get through another 4 years of being turned against each other by our own leaders, or whether we can be summoned into something better.
Well, what was your reaction to tonight's speech? That's the first 6 weeks and where we are right now.
Yeah.
How about how he summed up the state of our nation and what his plans are?
Look, it was classic Trump, right? It was a lot of darkness and it was a lot of dazzle. But there was very, very little about the things that most affect our lives. I believe politics is about everyday life. It's about what government can and must do to make our everyday lives better. And the biggest issue on people's minds, the affordability of everyday life, is not something that got more than a few seconds of mention in his speech. Nor did he mention some of the biggest things in dollar terms that he's doing. I mean, objectively, the biggest thing that he's working on is tax cuts for the rich. $5 trillion minimum. No mention in a speech that was, what, 2 hours? I think the longest of its kind ever. Right?
Yeah.
But it's always like this, right? It's always going to be about, they're going to talk about Greenland and about pronouns and about mice and not about what's going to actually make our lives better.
Well, going into this, polls showed that, about 85, somewhere in the mid-80s, people wanted him mostly to address the issues of the economy.
Yeah.
And inflation. And that somewhere in the high 20s, low 30s, believed he had done anything to address those things so far. So, what are the consequences of a president who promises that but doesn't seem to have any plan?
Well, I think disaffection, mistrust, and I think he's going to continue to slide in terms of popularity. Look, there's a good chunk of people who voted for him, even though they didn't like him, because they thought maybe he was going to make them better off. Let's remember, despite what you heard tonight, he came in with just under 50% of the vote. He won. I'm not disputing that. But the smallest popular vote margin since Nixon. I wonder how he feels about something that important being that small in his case. And he has lost support from there. And he will continue to if he's not addressing our problems.
Wow. To be smaller than Tricky Dick is... gives one pause, I would say. Okay, today Trump imposed broad tariffs against Canada, Mexico, and China. It set off a chain of retaliations, or as Trump called it, a little disturbance. How will these tariffs affect the average American?
Look, by the end of this week, maybe as early as tomorrow, definitely by the end of this week, you're going to go to the store, and you're going to find some things are more expensive because you're paying this tax. And let's be clear, that's what a tariff is. It's a tax. Now, when you look at your receipt, there's not going to be a line on there that says Trump tax, even though that's what it is. But what you're going to notice is the prices on a lot of things are higher. Again, the whole reason a whole bunch of people voted for him was that he ran around talking a good game about how he was going to lower prices. There was dissatisfaction that all of the work the last administration did to lower prices didn't kick in fast enough. He's increasing prices on purpose. On purpose.
What possible reason can you imagine that is?
Because it's part of this worldview that's basically telling everybody, we're going to get you a bigger slice of a smaller pie. But he doesn't really care whether that comes true. Remember, for him, it really is a little disturbance. If eggs are $10 and you're a billionaire, that's a little disturbance for you, but not for most people.
The international... Tell you what, let's pause it right there. I'm being told we have to go to commercial. We are live. We'll be right back with more Pete Buttigieg. Everybody stick around.